Hi, Pete Martin here again, CEO and founder of Ask My Board and the co-founder and co-creator of the 8-Figure Exits program. Hey, well, this is going to be a really cool tip, and it's focused on something that's near and dear to every single business owner, and that is cash, right? Everybody knows cash is king, and we hear repeatedly from business owners a myriad of issues around cash flow from, hey, I'm profitable, but I don't seem to be generating enough cash, or I'm running the business, I'm killing myself, and I'm just not pulling enough out of the business to even pay myself, and on and on and on and on. Cash flow is a continuous problem with most business owners we talk to. So what you're going to find is super cool. And one of the tools that we use as part of our program, and I'm going to give you a secret that probably nobody's ever told you, that mathematically, arithmetically, is the number one thing you should be focusing on as it relates to increasing and improving your cash flow. So let me start with something that I think is super important to me. And that is, as a business owner, all of us complain about the amount of cash that comes out of the business. However, most of us focus on what financial statement? The income statement, right? The P&L. Well, I tell people all the time, I have an MBA in finance, but I cannot read a traditional accounting cash flow statement to save my life. It's like some foreign language to me. I have absolutely no idea how to interpret it. So one of the tools we have, which is super cool, is called the Power of One Cash Flow Story. And it's focused on taking your financial statements, your profit and loss statement, and your balance sheet, and putting it into a format that you as a business owner, as probably a non-finance person, can actually understand and exactly what's happening in your business from a cash perspective. Not an accounting cash flow statement, but a business person's, this is what's happening in your business from a cash perspective. And then most importantly, which I'm going to show you in just a second, what levers can you pull, press, and manipulate to improve the cash flow in your business? So let me show you what I'm talking about. This is really cool stuff, I have to tell you. So this is called the Power of One Cash Flow tool, and it's to gain a better understanding of the 7 drivers of profit and cash that you can control, all right? And I'm going to take you through an actual example that we did with a client to show you the power of what I'm talking about, and the power of one. So the power of one means, what's the impact that a 1% or one-day improvement will have on all 7 drivers of your profit and cash flow, so that then you as a business owner can decide where you want to focus your efforts. So this is a very, very operational report that you can take a look at and simulate and forecast to understand how you can improve the cash flow in your business without doing anything else, really. Well, you're going to do some other things, but how you can make very incremental improvements to really improve the operating cash flow of your business. So let's get started. So the first one is looking at profitability drivers of both price and volume. So what is the impact on profit and cash flow that a 1% increase in price or volume would have on your business? In other words, you can either sell more stuff or you can raise your prices. And we understand that potentially if you raise your prices, volume may actually go down. So let's look at the interaction of those two things, price and volume. So in this specific example, increasing your price by 1% generates 2.2 times more profit than a 1% increase in volume. Let me say that again. Increasing your price by simply 1% generates 2.2 times more profit than a 1% increase in volume. And more importantly, in this specific example, increasing price by 1% generates 87 times more cash flow than a 1% increase in volume. So this is the big secret. I could stop right here and say, go raise your prices. It will have the biggest impact on cash flow, but I'm going to take you through the rest of this anyway. But this is the hidden secret in plain sight that nobody tells a business owner, that you actually are going to get more profit and more cash if you just focused on making sure you had a premium offer so that you could raise your prices, or you add more value, hopefully not add more cost, but add more value to your offering so that you can increase your prices. So let's see what happens when we talk about direct costs and overhead. Now, most business owners think of increasing profitability by reducing overhead, right? Cutting expenses. Well, let's see what happens there. So if you reduce your direct costs by 1%, this is above the line. This is in your gross profit, gross margin line. It generates almost 2 times more profit than a 1% reduction in overhead. So let me say that again. This is on this side here. Reducing your direct costs by 1%, that's it, generates 1.9 times more profit than a 1% reduction in your overhead. Also, reducing your direct cost by 1% generates 2.7 times more cash flow than a 1% reduction in overhead. So as a business owner, if you're going to look at your income statement and you want to figure out where can I cut cost, the best place you can go is direct cost, your cost of goods sold. That's going to give you the biggest impact on both a cost, on cash flow and a profitability perspective. The final piece is the working capital components, which is made up of your AR, your accounts receivable, your work in process, and your payables. So let's look at the interaction between those things. So if you could improve your receivables, your AR, right, getting customers to pay you faster by 1 day, it has the effect of generating, in this case, $95,000 more in cash flow. Okay, so we already put the numbers in for this. I won't take you through that. But in this case, just improving it by 1 day, collecting your receivables faster by 1 day, gives you almost $100,000 more cash flow. Reducing your work in process also gives you, by 1 day, generates that same amount in cash flow as well. Now, if you look at your payables, if you were to pay your suppliers 1 day later, it generates an extra $52,000 in more cash flow, okay? So in summary, if you look at all of these things that you can control and manipulate, this is the impact on both cash flow and profits that you can have based on where you focus your time and attention. So you look at the working capital aspects of receivables, work in process, and payables. In this case, $95,000 each. Price, volume, and direct cost. And this tells you clearly where you as a business owner should focus your efforts, which is on price, because it generates, in this case, $260K more in cash flow, $350 more K in profit, and your direct cost. These will have the biggest impact on your business versus all these other things. So I'm not saying that you shouldn't focus on the other ones, but in terms of how you prioritize your time, focus on price, focus on your cost of goods sold. This is a scenario planner we have to be able to take a look at the impact of not just 1%, but if you could increase your price by a couple of percentages, what impact does that have on, in this case, in this particular business? And so it creates this amazing report that looks at the net cash flow currently and the projected net cash flow. And what you want to do is you want to figure out, based on manipulating and leveraging and exploiting and working on these different aspects of your business, where can you turn around the cash situation and take it from a net cash flow? In this case, let's just say you increase your price by 5% and you reduce your direct cost by, or let's say, sorry, you impact your direct costs, meaning you lower them by 2%. You just went from, in this case, $2 million in negative cash flow, which you have to get funded by a bank, to actually basically break even or cash flow even from a cash perspective. So really, really cool tool. Again, if you're interested in working with us on this, we're happy to take you through this as part of our program. But we're going to give you a sample report that's generated from this particular example. And as you read through it, it's going to give you a traditional financial statement perspective. What's the P&L look like? What's the balance sheet look like? What's the historical on both of those? And then what is the impact of making a 1% or 1 day improvement in each one of these 7 factors that affects cash flow and how that impacts this business? This is really profound. You can make very small adjustments very small improvements in your business to have a dramatic and material impact of operating cash flow. And we've seen this go up 30, 40% additional operating cash flow from basically the same fundamental business. So I hope this is helpful. The net of all this stuff is focus on increasing your price by adding more value, by staying tougher with negotiating, by becoming a premium provider. And then the same thing is focus on your cost of goods sold, those direct costs, and reducing those as much as you can. That's going to have a profound and material impact on your business. We hope you found this helpful, and we'll see you on the next tip. Thanks.